Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani. Welcome to StudyIQ, and I welcome you in this daily Hindu analysis video. In the morning, these videos come. In the evening, the PIB videos come, and both are coming in Hindi and English languages. The important MCQs, facts, and data we are discussing. Do not miss any of the lesson. I have covered many questions till now, and for the prelims examination, do not miss to revise the economics basics and the Lakshmikant polity. Line wise, you have to remember each and everything. So these things would be the key, and environment section is very important. Around 25 questions will come from the environment and ecology section. So the current affairs section is very important. So that's why the compilation of these questions in these both lessons that I'm giving to you daily, that's very important. And revise all these things for the last 2-3 months questions that I've given to you. So now let's start the lesson. These are the numbers there you can call and you can ask for these pen drive courses. This is the website address, and the chat section is available, and you can ask all your queries regarding all these updated courses created by experts. 60% off is also going on, so that's very important. These are the words that I found today, and let's start the lesson. You see the devastation level there, and look at these people. Their lives are destroyed within moments, always, and still they do not complain much. They do not know much. They do not complain much. They do not expect much. So we can learn a lot of things from these people, that less resources, less help, but still they can survive with less resources and with zero help, and they are mostly dependent on their own. But you see, whenever the help is available, these people progress too much, and this is the great machine that gives maximum output. You can understand this thing in that way. We are having supports, we are having education, we are having all things, but what is our output? That we need to assess. So whenever you feel frustrated, whenever you feel low, look at these people. They are still struggling, and they are living in the same world, but always they look for the opportunities, always they look for some help, and they always try to convert opportunities into their gains. The same level of approach you should develop also. And you see the devastation here. This was totally enlightened area, and now totally under dark, totally cut off, and a religious city of Puri that is devastated. So they may ask you many questions from this geography, and cyclone phenomena I have explained to you in yesterday's lecture. So let's start now about the articles. The difference between job and work, a very important economic phenomena, and the social situation. So important for GS paper 1, 2. And a very important topic of essay we will discuss here. Taking fair trade in Delhi, the semi-ministerial meeting that is going to happen in Delhi, and many opportunities and some explanations about the present situation. So important for GS paper 2 and 3 both. So that we will discuss, and this is not important for us. It is about the Venezuela's situation and surviving Fani. As I told you, they are working in tandem, the state government and the central government. They both are helping here. The disaster relief forces, they are released on time, and the work that is going on, that is satisfactory, because they are working very fast, and the recovery is expected to be very fast, because there is a big reason, that is elections. And only at the time of elections, these poor people, they are getting some help that is available. Next, we are going to discuss this particular article about the ideology and the situation of Indian society, and the future aspirations, and the issue of jobs, and all these things. So important for GS paper 1 and 2 both, and a very important topic for the essay also. So we'll discuss that also, and apart from that, this achievement where Masood Azhar is declared as the international terrorist. The writer says that it's a global phenomena, and he is the enemy of humanity, and we cannot confine it to a particular incident or a particular nation or a particular leadership. And the achievement is not confined to a particular government or a particular personality. It is a global phenomena. It's a global effort, and the result and the consequence of many negative aspects related to that. So we will diminish this achievement if we will limit it to a particular personality's achievement or a particular party's achievement. That is not so. So that's the situation. Next, the difference between job and work. You see, these are two important phenomena. Job, that is somebody gives to you, maybe the government, maybe some employer, and the work, that the thing that somebody does in its lifetime to achieve its life's aspirations, and he fulfills his responsibilities, and it's a psychological satisfaction also, and it defines its career, character, all things. So work is a big phenomena, and when work is not respectable, then it creates frustration, it creates incompleteness in your personality also. And the present situation that is there today, you see Donald Doer's classic, the diploma disease. What is the diploma disease? You see, the situation in India is like that, and it is there for the last 2 decades approximately, where students are hardly getting jobs after the degrees, and when they are finding it difficult after the graduation, then they look for the job and they are not getting it most of the times, so they will go for another degree, and they will think that maybe some bigger job I will get after completing next degree or the next to next degrees. So they have a pile of degrees with them, but in the name of qualification, in the name of communication skills, and in the name of other capabilities, they are hardly standing anywhere, and that's why they are not getting jobs. So the diminishing of the respect for degrees and the value of these important diplomas and all these educational milestones, that is really under a lot of stress. Today, when people say that educational standards are declining, they are in fact responding to devaluation of degrees, because it's a real devaluation. They are not able to get us jobs. And you see, if you go to a foreign country, a developed country, then degrees matter and people are respected. But here you see the devastation, utter devastation of the education standards, that PhD is applying for the PM's job. Means we do not have any respect for the educational issues, the degrees and all these achievements. We are actually insulting them a lot, and it is all a rusted system here. The number of young people who are not in education, employment or training, which the writer called them NEET category, means not in education, employment or training, means they are good for nothing today. And so unfortunate the condition is that they want to work, they want jobs, but they are not getting them. And the issue of automation is very important, because the governments, all the important employers, they are appreciating this environment of automation, where low skilled jobs are replaced by these machines and computers. If you talk about the banks, post offices, then maximum amount of the low skill jobs, that is being done by computers. So why they would employ many employees? So this question remains, that which way we should decide. But you know, it is about our society, it is about our huge population, and it is about our demographic dividend issue and the productivity of every person. You see, when people are frustrated, they are not getting any job, and they are just roaming around, being vulnerable socially, politically, then their productivity, their innovation and all, everything is ended. When they get some boost, when they get some job, and when they get some support, and that is permanent also, then their creativity comes out, and they are very much positive, they are working with maximum level of their efficiency. But that is not possible, and it is a stressful and negative environment all over this country. And you see, short-term jobs, which are given normally in the name of modernization, and these contract jobs which are not permanent and all, so they are often used to cite the success of an economic policy, which in reality is decimating work and reskilling people. And this is often done in the name of modernization, as I told you. And you see, quality is not a matter today for the employers or the government. They are never caring about the quality. That is why they are not able to give this permanent employment, because they do not think it necessary. You see, 7-8 years are gone and no permanent recruitment notifications are there in universities, in some state universities and somewhere else. So that is utter level of ignorance. And you see, they do not think it necessary that quality should be there. So shameful this condition in some sectors we see, in some fields of educational sector, and some important fields like biotechnology and other important subjects, anthropology, like this. So you do not get any kind of notification for the assistant professor's job or some kind of teacher's job in some school lectureship basis. So these notifications are not visible today. And if these things are not there, permanent jobs are not there, then what kind of quality we expect from our system? And the people who are studying there, what kind of job they will get after this kind of education? Because the teachers are not permanent, they are on a contract basis, and maybe they are trying for some other skill, trying for some other jobs, and preparing for some other area. So it's totally a hotspot situation. And maybe some people, maybe who are listening to this lecture, maybe who are good at their positions, they look it as an unnecessary explanation, or something is not realistic. But just move around once. Go to some colonies in Delhi and Jaipur, or in some areas where students are aspiring for the jobs. They are trying to get something, and they are totally frustrated when they see series of nonsense issues in their recruitment processes. Somewhere the paper leak is there, somewhere the issues are there that the pending the issues is in court, and it is pending for years now, and the examination process is not completed. So look at their conditions. What kind of psychological impact is there? And these youths, they are extremely vulnerable. There are layers in the society already. Issues are there already, and the caste, the reservation issues, they are already frustrating students, and these jobs are not coming. And socially and politically, they are 100% exploited generation. What is happening today? What kind of environment we see today? Maximum number of engineers, maximum number of graduates, they are involved in these kind of nonsense issues, and they are totally visible that how they are made fool. And why? You see, the issue is that if government is going to give them jobs, if they will be busy with their daily routine, their jobs, and they will be thinking about their creativity in the jobs and all, then who is going to chant Bharat Mata ki Jai, Go Mata, and all these things? Who is going to fight there with the opposition parties on the streets? And it is coming from all the parties, and the nationalism discourse and all these rhetorics and all, they are exploiting these vulnerable youths. And that is the situation that we see today. But we are not caring about this, and we are seriously not thinking about the future of this country. That thing is totally seen. So work satisfies a deeper urge than livelihood, which if denied takes a significant political and social toll. So we need to think a very important psychological aspect, a social aspect, and a political aspect of this situation. That what is going to happen after 5, 10, 15 years. Maybe today some gain is there for some parties, but what is going to happen after that? So they need to be thoughtful about this situation. And job versus work, as I told you, work is way more important. It's a dignified way of life. And if that is denied, then there is no way left. Okay, so a very important issue of skill is also there. You see, a perfect explanation is defined here, that those who justifying all around automation as legitimate means of economic progress define the term skill in a sense quite different from how it was understood so far. Means they are legitimating it according to their own needs. And in its conventional sense, skill implies a specialized expertise that grows with experience and imparts a personal identity. Okay, and jobs that vanish after a brief period, forcing the workforce to leave and look for a retraining for a new short-term stint, offer no genuine opportunities for developing a skill. That means the way the skill is defined today, the skill, the way it is being pursued today, that is not even a way of developing further skills. That is for a short, brief period of time, because they cannot give permanent employment, because they know if they are going to give permanent employment, then a lot they need to sacrifice. And you see the condition, 1% people, they are holding around 60% of the wealth, and they do not want to lose it. And about the government, that is all under stress, because everything is there with these powerful and rich people. So government is not capable of giving all these permanent jobs and all, and they are not capable of tackling this huge population, and that is why they are getting them stuck in these recruitment processes, sporadic incidents of some notifications which are out and not completing the processes, and telling them about the schemes of skilling, telling them about the aspiration. So aspiration is the word that is defining this present condition. In India today, everything is about aspiration, aspiring country, aspiring youth, aspiring jobs, aspiring skills, and aspiring everything. But where is the result of this aspiration? Where is the positive consequence of it? That is not visible. So that is why it's really necessary that we think about the reviewing of our educational standards, about these degree situation, about the devaluation of our education system. And you see the allocation of the budget to the education sector, that is consistently on a decline. It used to be more than 6% 4-5 years back, but today the situation is so bad. It is around 2-3%. Okay, so these things are really important, and we need to think about especially our youth and about the skilling and job sector. And a holistic approach, a review of this situation is needed, and all these things are complementary to each other. The education, skill, and the jobs and the work life, all these things should work in a tandem. And in the name of modernization, we should think about the synchronization, we should think about the harmony between them, and we are tackling them separately and not even in an efficient manner, because all these things are a need to each other, and it is about the future of this country. So that's the important article here. Okay, next, taking fair trade in Delhi. This is the situation where the semi or mini ministerial meeting is happening in Delhi. Developing countries must make a case for stable and transparent multilateral trade. Means the ministerial meeting, they happen every 2 years. In December 17 it happened in Buenos Aires, and that was a kind of a failure because there was no consensus between the ever going tussle between the developing countries and the developed countries. Developed countries, they do not want to sacrifice some things, they do not want to support, and developing countries, they have many aspirations, and they have many baggages with them, the huge populations and less capacities and dependence on agricultural issues, and the manufacturing sector is not that much great. So they have aspirations and difficulties, so they need support there. And if it is to be a equality in world trade, then the support should be given by the developed countries, and they have some responsibilities towards the developing world and the least developed world, because many problems they may arise because of this inequality, but they are not ready to understand that. And WTO like organizations which are seeing a kind of a decline today, because the powerful countries like USA that has declared about withdrawing from many areas, and many supports they are denying today, and the reasonable and balanced approach is not visible. And many other institutions are rising, like in financial sector, the rise of AIIB, ADB, and the World Bank and IMF, they are looking towards a less important phase for them. So these kind of things are happening, but you see, these are all changes. The development or the real progress is not visible today. And you see, some positive things are that we are aspiring nation and we are progressing a lot. Our GDP numbers are rising, and this is because we have a huge market. The domestic consumption is too much. But you see, the issues are like in developed countries, when we talk about agricultural producers, when we talk about these technologies which are based with the raw materials and the agriculture, these industries are supported by the developed countries' governments, and there are agricultural lobbies and all, and they support them so that their production is cheaper and they can dump these things to the developing countries' markets. And that is how this is all a devastation for the domestic industries and all. And this is why our manufacturing, our entrepreneurship, that is not getting a big boost. So we need some support here. And these countries, these bigger countries like America and European countries and all, and Japan and all, they are not appreciating the export from our countries. Okay, they want their exports as boosting, but they do not want our exports to be allowed there on a cheaper rates. So that is somewhere a phase of imbalance, a phase of inequality, and that needs to be changed. Here we have a opportunity because things are failing there and no consensus is possible in recent years. So we have an opportunity here that we may raise some local issues, we may raise some important issues, and you see everyone is looking towards India as a hopeful country, and it's a brightest spot on the world economy. So they may heed to some important issues raised by New Delhi here. Okay, so from a plurilateral approach towards multilateralism, we need to move, and members may also ensure the sanctity and durability of the WTO. Otherwise, WTO has no future. Nobody's gonna trust that. We have raised many issues of dispute settlements. We have raised issues of these subsidies and non-tariff measures with the developed countries, and how WTO is being biased. So we are asking for some reservations, and the things are which are there today, these are not in favor of us. So we have raised many issues. So these are legitimate things. So as we talk about reservation issues in our jobs, in our political situation in our country, in the same way we are asking for reservations for developing nations at the world stage, because that is legitimate one, and they owe us something because they want to exploit our markets. Then they need to give some support here, and that is totally legitimate. And every American company wants to come to India and they want to settle down here, they want to take advantage here, want to earn here, but the support is not given by their governments. So these things are really a problem. Countries like Malaysia, Brazil, India, which are aspiring one, developing one, and they always want to discipline the farm regime in their favor. So you see that is necessary. And the agricultural subsidies issues, you see, you must have heard about the orange box, blue box, and all these colorful boxes which are associated with the WTO, and all other important issues of the sanitary, phytosanitary measures, implementation, standardization, digital trade, fishery subsidies, environmental goods and all, and environmental conditions and all, which are restricting some of our policies, some of our steps. So these restrictions are more with developing nations, less with the developed countries, because they have some important stakes in these multilateral institutions. So these are all making a very important and legitimate ground for asking for some reservation there. And you see, it is more in favor of some rich and elite classes and this class of entrepreneurs and all. So they anyhow settle these issues, but things are not good for the small scale exporters and these small scale entrepreneurs and all. So they are finding it very difficult, and when these dumping issues are there, then they are always experiencing some devastation in their respective manufacturing and their sector. So that is a big issue. Recently we raised the custom duty of wheat from 30% to 40%. So that was before the elections, and you will see some important changes after elections. So there are economic constraints for the developing countries because things are not possible all the times, because there are issues of efficiency. So these countries are always dealing with the inequality at the economical level in their own country, and at the world level things are again problematic. So the governments are struggling a lot. Okay, so we need to raise all these issues, and it's a great opportunity for us that this is happening in India, and all these points you can read here. Okay, agricultural trade, that is a very important aspect of our issues which are raised by India at the WTO platform. And the second one is the dispute settlement mechanism, because they are always in favor of developed countries. Okay, next, Ashok Lavasa, one of three important people in Election Commission of India. One is CEC and other two are election commissioners, and Ashok Lavasa was one of them. All the issues which are dealt with here, and the decisions are coming with a majority. So Ashok Lavasa said that in four of these cases, 2:1 was the ratio, because he was not in favor of giving clean chits to some leaders, because they were saying some objectionable things and things which should not have raised in the election campaigning. But some complaints were there, and these people are sitting on the highest level of administration today, so these complaints were against them. So he said that my opinion was not important here because it was out of majority. So some issues again are pointing towards some review in the selection process here, because CEC used to be only one in 1952 when it was started, and after that these two were added, and the allegation were there that because they want some change in decisions, because if somebody is not supporting the government or some person else, then if these two people are added to them, then the majority may bring the favorable decisions. So here you can see if these two people, they are giving one decision and this person is not giving that decision, so that decision would come according to these two people, because it would be 2:1. So it's a problem also. And you see the selection process of the Chief Election Commissioner and these election commissioners, you see it is all dependent on the government, because it is decided by the Prime Minister, and which is heading the Council of Ministers, and it recommends it to President of India, and President of India appoints CEC and election commissioners. So it is about all the government's decision. And you see the removal is not that much easy. It's very, very difficult. The way the Supreme Court judges, they are removed, in the same way CEC is removed from the post. So that's a problem. So you see here the issue remains that Article 324 that need to be discussed here, and the way collegium system is there, the selection committees are there regarding NHRC, CVC and CBI director and all. So in the same way there must be a balance. Leader of opposition, all these people, they should be there on the board, and they all should decide in a balanced manner. Then these issues will not be there. Otherwise there are always allegations that the election commission is working in favor of government of India. Maybe any kind of party is there. And Gopalaswamy was the CEC at that time, and who served as the CEC between 6 to 9, and he said that Mr. Naveen Arora, he should be removed from the post, but he was not removed, and he became the CEC next CVC in 2009. So that these kind of things are really a problem when disputes are there, allegations are there, but still people are sitting there without any scrutiny, without any evaluation there. So these can be asked in prelims and mains, both levels. Next, what we need today is social justice. Here the writer says that socialism is always there for a reason, because the capitalist class creates divisions here, and the capitalism always leads to a condition where one section is very, very rich, and these people are very less in number, and they are having all kinds of powers, forces and everything, and the other section would be the section of poor people and powerless people. They cannot raise their heads, and if they raise their voices, then they are crushed by that powerful class. So this is a way of capitalism, and this is all the result that we see today in this world. In this world, 1% people are having more than 60% of the wealth. According to a report in India also, 50 to 60% wealth is there with 1% of people of India. So what that means? It means socialism was a better method always in India, and in this country where already there are layers in the society, already there are many divisions, caste, religions and social issues, the Dalit issue, OBC issue and upper caste issue, or these are always there. So this country needs a uniform approach, and that is given by socialism. The capitalist class, it only exploits. They are never in favor of maintaining their social responsibilities, and these issues like CSR and all, they are always mandatorily imposed on them. Otherwise they are not going to support poor people because it's in their favor. You see a condition where a rich company employing people for 10,000 rupees a month, and they are extracting everything from them. They are totally exploiting these people. They are taking maximum hard work, and these people are doing more than 8 to 10 hours duties, and they are paid only 10,000 rupees. Then what is the meaning? It is total devastation of the poor life. And here you see capitalism is the core of it. And you see, we should raise a big debate here. The people who are the political class who are appreciating these people. You see, if we look at the Reliance Retail's, only Reliance Retail's revenue last year, it was more than 1 lakh crore rupees. More than 1 lakh crore rupees, and it was around 1 lakh 13,000 crore rupees. So what that means, in this age of crisis, farmers crisis is there, job crisis is there, and investments is not are not coming, and the growth prospects are consistently on a decline. Here some companies are making huge profits, unprecedented profits. The same case with Adani's issue. And you see more and more public sector units, they are facing many challenges. Their debts are rising to thousands of crores of rupees, whether we talk about HAL, whether we talk about BSNL, whether we talk about Air India, all are facing troubles. And here the profit is rising with these companies, and they are in a way legitimizing the issue by saying that these are much more efficient and they will bring a great growth to India. But what kind of growth? Growth is already there, but there is no balance. Where are jobs? Where are support to the poor people? Why they are living in this kind of condition, and why you people are having this much of wealth, and that is not nowhere manageable for you people. So what that means? What is the need of this kind of imbalance? And it is creating a lot of problems, social and political problems. These vulnerable youths which are not having jobs. You see the educational sector that is having around 2% budget allocation, and that is why they are not able to give permanent jobs, as we discussed in the first article. So what these people are going to do? PhD students are applying for the peon's job. This is all the result of this situation. 1% wealth is with these rich classes, and this is being appreciated by the political class. This is the most unfortunate thing in a country like India. That means it's an open mockery. So that is why this is utterly needed, that the socialism is there. Public sector production, public sector entities are flourishing. That we need to assure here. Maybe some issues are there of the corruption and less productivity, but we need to improve these things. You cannot say that if you cannot improve some things, then you just end them. You cannot do that. That is not good, because we know what is going to happen with the capitalism. And what is going to happen? East India Company came here and it looted this country, it exploited this country. In the same way, these rich elite classes, they are exploiting this country. This is a pure loot, because the result is visible. 1% people are having this much wealth, and 60% people are living with only 4% of the wealth of this country. What that means? Are these people so incapable, and are these people so capable? No, this is not the situation, and there is no crisis of the merit with these poor people, but it is all about the systematic failure and appreciation of these people and giving support to these people. They are running away with the thousands of crores of rupees, and we are arguing here that the poor people are not efficient and these are efficient people, so we should give them support. What kind of joke is this? And that is why we need socialism. And you see the ideology of lefts, that is to be discussed here, because D. Raja is a leftist leader and he is raising this point because of the reason. You see, Marxism was the person where we are celebrating 200th birth anniversary of him, and he and Friedrich Engels brought scientific socialism in the public debate, and the march of capitalism and its meaning to poor and rich. They defined that, and they told that what's worst victim of capitalism is a disadvantaged section, and it is ever growing class conflict with this system. And this is the thing that is purely evident in our country that needs to be changed here. Although all these are negative things, but these are real problems, and we are not looking at these things. And tell me one debate where on the national media these things are being discussed. Nobody ever discussed these issues. They are all taking us towards nationalism, religion, and caste, every dirty issue. You see, nationalism, it's a responsibility of every government, and that needs to be taken care of. What is the meaning of bringing it to the political campaigning? And shamefully, the highest level of people are demanding votes in the name of that, and they are not talking about these important issues. That means it looks like they do not ever care about the poor people and the inequality situation of this country, and what kind of steps they will take. They are not even ready to talk about this situation, and this is for real. Farmer suicides are not there for any nonsensical reason. That is really a justified case, because they are living in a depression because of this condition. And these people who are under this 60% category, who are owning 4% of the wealth. So you just divide this condition. 60% means 80 crore people, around 80 crore people living with just 4% of our wealth. Just divide these numbers and you tell me what kind of life they are living. But this is for true. So that is how we need to step up here. We need to improve the situation, the crisis which is there with the socialism, the crisis with which is there with the leftist ideology. Some corrupt leaders are there, and they are also talking in the same tone and same way they are living. So that is a problem, because the true socialistic leaders are not there. So we need to find them, we need to raise them, and we need to replace this privatization move. Otherwise, you see the education sector, the health sector, everything is being privatized here. These are basic things. In the future, some situation would come that they would throw every poor person out of their hospitals, out of their educational systems, and out of their companies. Nobody would allow a poor person, and this is happening for real. But we do not care. We do not want to discuss these things, and when somebody discusses that, then they say that you are being negative here. This is not negativity, my friends. This is about truth, and we need solutions for these problems. These are real problem identifications, and we need to bring these solutions. Otherwise, we do not have a future. We will have a very problematic country ahead. Okay, so the solution to these problems will bring all kinds of positivity. Okay, next, anti-dumping duty put on saccharin. Saccharin is a replacement of the sugar for the diabetic patients, and we are importing it heavily from Indonesia country, and now we are going to put anti-dumping duty because the country is dumping a lot of saccharin in our country, and around 43% of our imports are coming from that country. So it's a situation, and they may ask you about saccharin and this dumping duty both. Next, CFTRI, a Mysore-based Central Food Technological Research Institutes. It is supplying food there in this cyclone hit areas of Odisha, and it's a important premier CSIR food laboratory. So they may ask you about it, a very important state-owned laboratory, and all these institutions are working heavily in these areas, and that's important for the prelims point of view. Next, Telangana addresses maternal mortality rate. You see, under our national health mission, we have important targets of infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate mainly, and you see we measure maternal mortality on the scale of 1 lakh per live birth. So it used to be around 113 2014-16 out of 1 lakh live births, and some states are performing nicely here. They are achieving the desired targets, like Kerala, where 46 is the number with every lakh live birth. 81 is there with Telangana. Maharashtra is 61. So these are some good states and some good stats here also. So these stats should be there with other states also, but that is not being possible, and we are lagging there a lot in some states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, UP, Bihar. We are struggling a lot. These southern states are performing good here, although we are not close to our total perfect targets, but we are achieving some things here. So that's good. UNICEF, WHO, all their important strategies. You see, WHO strategic direction for strengthening nursery and midwifery for 16-20. That is the goal, and that is going on. And we are taking steps here. The ASHAs are very important. They may ask you about ASHAs, auxiliary social health activists. They may ask you about ANMs and all, auxiliary nurse and midwifery. So these are important issues which are related with these. What are midwiferys? These are having knowledge of basic health services and the sexual health also, and they are assistive in these deliveries and all. So they are performing in a great way for maternal mortality goals and infant mortality goals both. Important schemes like Janani Suraksha Yojana and these Matritva Suraksha, all these are very relevant here. So please revise all of them before the prelims examination. Okay. Next, Simachalam temple, that is Lord Varaha Lakshmi Narasimha Swami temple. That is the second biggest temple after the Venkateswara temple in Tirumala. So this Chandarotsam is the second important festival, and that is around this time of the year, and that is going on. So they may ask you about that. Vishnu is the god there, and Varaha is the avatar of it. Next, these are the important questions. Try to look for their answers and their important details. You see in the prelims examination, many things I have covered in these questions. So please do not miss this compilation, and please revise them, all of them, in the PIB video and in this the Hindu video. I am discussing many questions. So it is going to be a huge compilation. Please do not miss that. Again and again, I'm trying to say this thing. Thanks a lot, PDF. You will get here. Thanks a lot.